Hello everyone. Today we will talk about a very important and in-demand resource in Diablo 4, gold. I will explain in detail where it drops, how much you get, and from which activities in Season 11. Both single-run values and hourly rates. That is it for the intro. New Off is on the line. Thanks in advance for the like and sub. Let us go. I will start, as in the previous season, by praising Blizzard. I don't know for how long, but the fact is, a week of the season has passed and gold retains its value. For example, today, a full gold limit sells for $116. For those who don't understand if that's a lot or a little, I'll clarify. There were times of duplication when gold cost a couple of dollars for a limit of 100 billion. I repeat, I don't know for how long, but even at the end of the last season, on the final day of Season 10, a full gold limit cost $7.50. And that says a lot. Literally tomorrow this gold will be worthless, but still the price is not $1 but $7. So for now everything is fine. Also, let me remind you that starting with the current Season 11, gold drops from monsters have been increased according to official statements by 8 times. Let's see how it works in practice. First, let's take Infernal Horde. I will consider the Horde option where we always choose Barthok upon completing the waves. 10 waves of Horde, depending on the number of Chaos Pylons, which can be from 1 to 3. The gold from the waves themselves ranges from 1.5 to 3.5 million. For killing Barthok, you get 13.5 million gold. For opening the chest for 400 ether, you always get 7.5 million. Gold from the gold chest depends strictly on the amount of ether spent. The less ether spent, the more gold per unit. 60,000 gold per unit at 20 ether, 40,000 per ether at 200 ether, and so on, decreasing. In total, completing 10 waves takes 12 minutes. In an hour, we can complete the 10-wave Horde 5 times. On average per hour, 9 million from Ether plus 2 million from waves plus 13.5 million from Barthok plus 7.5 million from the top chest equals 32 million per run multiplied by 5 runs, and we get 160 million per hour. I am not considering the 6-wave option because no one runs the Horde specifically for gold in the Season 11. There are more profitable activities. It makes sense to run the Horde for the loot from Barthok and the chest, and in general, you can only gather enough ether for them from 8 or 10 waves. Compasses for the Horde drop from the following activities: Helltide, Nightmare Dungeons, the Pit, and Uber bosses, sometimes from anywhere from elites. Uber bosses, I killed each boss 5 to 10 times for an average gold amount. The time was measured from the moment of click in the altar to the next click on the altar. Time for going to town to sort loot is calculated at 20% of the time being without gold. Using Varshan as an example, I will explain in detail. Killing Varshan takes 20 seconds. That gives us 180 runs per hour. 20% of 180 is 36. 180 minus 36 equals 144. That is, net runs, accounting for trips to town to sort loot, is 144 runs per hour. Multiply by 1.5 million gold, and we get 216 million per hour. Also keep in mind that sometimes after any Uber except Belial, a shade of Belial appears, which also gives 0.7 million gold. Therefore, the average values for the bosses include the appearance of the shade of Belial. Of course, all figures are approximate due to the shadow not having a precise appearance rate based on a small sample. I will not list all the Uber bosses. If needed, pause and look. The gold per hour is significantly higher than before. Regarding the drop rate of mythic items from Ubers in Season 11, I will talk about it later when I collect the data. Legion. I am including Legion here simply for completeness. This event occurs every 15 to 25 minutes, depending on the season or Blizzard's mood. In Season 11, this event gives approximately 1.3 million gold. Previously, the amount was fixed at 835,000. Whisper caches. They have tried to revive them for several seasons in a row, and in my opinion, it is working reasonably well. Don't forget about farming them. Not necessarily targeted, but incidental during all other activities for sure. Regular Whisper caches. I opened 15 of them. They give on average 4 million gold each. So, no growth from last season. Legendary Whisper caches. I also opened 15 of these. They give on average 7.5 million gold each. That is an increase of 1.5 million per cache. Note, gold from Whisper caches is not included in the gold calculations from other activities. Same for Legion and World Boss gold, Nightmare Dungeons. I did several measurements. First, for an hour, I ran only regular dungeons, all kinds. That is, not escalated, not with goblins, but regular ones with blue or yellow affixes. So regular ones yield 150 million per hour. Next, I ran sigils with strong rooms. They look like this. The result was approximately 288 million gold per hour. Then for 1 hour, I ran empowered nightmare dungeons, escalated ones with 4 tiers. I ran all of them without selecting bonuses. Reminder, escalated sigils drop only from the strong room boss in any regular or legendary nightmare dungeon. Gold from them came to 376 million per hour. I ran as fast as the build allows, rarely opening chests, only if I noticed one right under my nose. Sigils for nightmare dungeons drop in almost all activities, and they can be crafted at the occultist for powder. Powder is given in small amounts for any high-level activity. High level means from Torment 1 and above. There is no shortage of sigils. This season, it seems there is no shortage of anything. Plenty of everything. Consider it a Christmas and New Year gift. By the way, happy holidays. Helltide calculated per hour gave 200 million gold. This includes completing all activities, repeatedly killing the Duriel replacement for the Maiden, completing all encountered local events, opening all chests, and so on. Kurast undercity. Here I will break tradition and no longer calculate based on 3 minutes per run. The 3 minutes per run was, of course, including loading to the location and back to the dungeon. Now the experience from beacons and monsters has been increased. Filling the full progress bar has become much easier. And after the overall increase in gold amounts from everything, there is no longer any point in averaging. Moreover, obols now drop frequently in the undercity, and you need to go to Serigar for gambling. The obol cap is reached roughly every 15 minutes. In total, calculated per hour, on my current build I get about 20 million gold per hour. I was running tributes for runes. I gathered a lot of them, but that's another story waiting for you in the future. Tributes drop in the Horde, Kurast itself, the Pit, Uber bosses, Whisper caches, nightmare dungeons, sometimes anywhere from elites. The number of tributes has been increased, which in my opinion clutters the inventory. In practice, only 4 types of offerings are worth running. The rest are trash. The Pit. At the moment, I can quickly run Pit level 80. The time is about 70 to 90 seconds. Including loading to the location and back to town, that takes 20 seconds. So 2 minutes per run with extra time for salvaging every 10 to 15 runs. That gives 30 runs per hour. Gold for Pit 80 now gives from 18 to 22 million, which equals approximately 600 million per hour. Yes, the gold system in the Pit has changed radically. There is no longer a tiny fixed sum tied to the Pit level. Now there is a reward for the quantity and quality of monsters killed during the run, which, in my opinion, is great, or maybe not. The Pit was always about Paragon leveling, and now it's also about gold, somewhat ambiguous. Write what you think about it. And advice for new players. To farm gold and gain experience, you should run not level 110 Pit in 10 minutes, but level 80 in 1 minute. Nothing but ego is gained on high-level pits. The exception is leveling glyphs to 100. But that's not urgent. The difference in damage between glyphs at level 95 and 100 is insignificant. The world boss has finally been fixed. After death, it gives from 0.9 to 1.5 million gold. Previously, it gave laughable sums like 70,000. Now for the Season 11 boss Asmodan. Asmodan himself gives very little, from 40,000 to 400,000. The right chest Duriel's 0 gold. The top chest Belial's from 17 to 18.5 million. The left chest and Dariel's also 0. But all sorts of loot and resources drop from these chests in sufficient quantities. There's gear, crafting materials and anything else. In my opinion, good drops. Link to the table with data for the current and previous seasons is in the description. I will state once again, just in case. All hourly farming calculations from this table are made without including gold from seasonal and whisper caches. Also without including gold from the world boss or legion. Plans now include a video on obdusite per hour and maybe on farming runes. What and how much exactly? Although runes are fairly obvious already. A link to the guide for my current build will be in the description. And don't hesitate to ask questions in the comments. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye.